Bam, Cindy Cam. Alrighty, this video was sent from New South Wales, Australia. This guy crashed into two oncoming cars. This guy crashed into two standby cars while trying to pick up the phone. And he drove home to his house. Parked where he always parks. His wife came out, started having an argument because it was the second crash in 6 months. And that was what happened. Next, this other crash came from. This was the same crash, the same people from 6 months before, if you remember who it was. And this guy saw a dog. The same guy saw a dog, and this was 6 months before. The guy saw a dog. And swerved. Hit a stop sign. Kept going. Ran over the center island. His transmission started hanging out and pulled off the road. His transmission finally ripped out of the car. His car started making a snail trail. His car started making transmission liquid everywhere. After his car kept going, and after releasing the throttle, and his car, he tried driving, it would just rev. So this was the sound. And here's the full clip. He put it in drive, and it wouldn't drive, and it wouldn't go forward. It would just rev like this. It would just not drive. The throttle was the only one that would work. And all you car guys, don't just scream at me saying, the engine gives power to the throttle. The transmission gives power to the throttle. And without the transmission, the throttle wouldn't work. And, if you didn't know, if you have never tried this before, nearly every mechanic has never tried this before, you didn't know your transmission, if it's connected to the transmission, it would be using transmission liquid, and the throttle wouldn't even work in the first place because you'd be connecting it to the wrong. You'd be connecting it to the wrong cable. You didn't connect the throttle because you wouldn't be connecting the throttle cable. You would be connecting the freaking. So you'd be connecting it to the transmission liquid. You'd be connecting it to the transmission liquid cable that runs the transmission liquid into the car, and plus transmission liquid powder sprayed everywhere from the car. How do you know that? It's because the fire brigade came and swept it out, And plus, that was all my dad. Those 2 crashes. From 2021. And in this year, is not really kind of a crash. He was in a parking lot asleep in Links in, I believe, Wang Fu. At Wang Fu. The Cure Gang at Wang Fu, I believe. And I'm not sure. I think it's Link Road. I think it's Greenleaf Road. At one of the garages, this happened at one of the security cameras. Oh, god damn it, I forgot my goddamn lines. Help! Someone help! And soon after, a guy came and called the fire brigade in the middle of the car burning. Apparently it was an electrical fire with the cables. And usually cars that old had really good electrics. German cars that old usually have a good electrics. And all those cars, I forgot to tell you about all those cars. Two were Ford Falcons. So one was the first one was a Ford Falcon XR6. That was 6 months later after the first crash, and the first crash was a Ford Falcon XT, and the third crash the crash that was basically a crash because it catch fire was a BMW i18, i28, i1820i, or i1820i, or i28i. And the car was absolutely demolished in the fire. As you can see, the whole entire front part of the plastic has melted at the front, and you see the engine is completely destroyed. There's burns everywhere on the car, but not the door. You could easily replace the front. You could easily replace the engine. Could you fix this car? Yeah, I can. Because my dad's his dream car. Nah. BMW. Nah, I'm only joking. I gotta be kind. I gotta fix it. Really? Yeah. Doesn't even take that long. You know, the engine, just gotta replace the plastics and replace the fenders. That's completely fine. And the front windscreen. That's what you gotta do. And that was what he said when he tried fixing it. And then a few days, and apparently he wasn't allowed to take it home not like the first two. And he still has to get his stuff out of it. And he still has to get his stuff out of it. I'm not lying. My dad still has to get his stuff out of that BMW. And it's been a month. And it's been nearly 3 months already, and he's been calling so many times and can't even get it. They can't even get it. Time for the next crash. This crash is the most delicate crash you'd have to see. but the car didn't even break that much. This driver in New South Wales, Australia, flipped his car and crashed. So watch this clip. Dude, why did you crash, bro? Mate, beep beep. Mate. And that was only at least that car didn't go in his direction. Development build. If you didn't know, I've got the development build of this game. So it's literally, it's still being developed. So I have a feeling someone hacked into whoever was making the game and something, and hacked all the guy's information or something. That's probably what he did. But this crash is demolished. This crash is the most blessed crash in the world. By the way, you can flip your phone upside down, just put on rotation lock, and you can see the damage yourself. Just quickly put your phone on rotation lock. You can get the crash. Boop, beep, boop. Beep, 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 boop, beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Okay, right here, the door is hanging off. As you can see, the bonnet is hanging. The engine is completely fine. These doors are destroyed. This car is probably right off service. Okay, and now you can flip your phone back over. And that is the best thing you've ever seen. And that was the best thing you've ever seen. But this is that was the best one I've seen. And probably you or me. Now, let's see about this. That crash. Now I'm going to explain this crash again. Now, one day there was a guy driving and he crashed into a pole. And this video, and also this video came from, and also if you didn't know, this video came from the United Kingdom in Europe. By the way, this was before the Queen died, just so people don't get offended. Just so people don't get offended or something. Also, if there's any Australians out there, I have a warning for all Aboriginals that all people from this video could be dead now. Could have died. Just to warn you, this next crash. Click off the video if you don't want to see it. Just click off the video if you don't want to see it. I don't want people Aboriginal complaining about this. Any Aboriginal people complaining about this. So I'm just gonna warn you right now. In this crash, this guy crashed so badly And there was only two people in the front seat and 2 people in the back. And those 4 people. The back was completely fine, but the 2 people in the front were classed as dead. Classed dead, but 2 people at the back were alive. And they're living well right now in the hospital. Having the happiest life. And right here is rolling, and that was a rollover. That was the worst rollover I've seen in my life. Even though this guy was driving, and he flipped his car really badly, making his car destroyed, but even his car landed. But he didn't. Only 1 person died in the passenger seat, which was his grandfather, which was his 95-year-old grandfather, taking him to chemotherapy. He was taking him to chemotherapy and crashed. He crashed and he was completely fine. And after that, he's alive. But at least he wasn't classed as dead. He was just passed out. From the crash, because he was in that much of a shock from pain. He was in that much pain that he passed out from the blood circulation in his body and his blood sugar levels and not eating enough raw meats. And that's why. That's why he almost died. But at least he had positive negative cancer a few days later, so he could grow his hair back. So a few days later, he was growing his hair back. So apparently the guy does not have cancer anymore after his first day at chemo, and he's alive and well with a happy life. I wish him well. And the final part of this video, because we're about to get Max. This guy was driving recklessly. This guy was driving and he almost crashed and then skidded through with a small puncture on the side of the door and almost rolled his car with his rear wheel sticking out on his car, and his car is still completely fine. And that's the last one because it's been 19 minutes. And see you tomorrow and see you in the next episode of Wham Bam Beam Cam.